Hope is a feeling that everyone's familiar with and everyone experiences at one time or another, where everyone's always hopeful for things to come in the near future and hopeful that the world will be a better place, hopeful for something good to happen to all of us.
Hope for me is the ability to recognize that there can be a better future for what you want, the ability to want a better future. I think hope on itself is a bit weak, but when you put it together with things such as the ability to really visualize that future, the ability to actively act for that future, hope is very strong.
I think hope it varies from person to person. Whatever somebody wants is what their hope is. It goes from person to person, so everybody has different needs and different wants, and hope just comes and goes as those needs and wants.
I define hope as something that sparks another person or like enlightens them to want to keep going.
Resilience for me comes together cleanly with hope. If you have hope but no resilience, you're wishing for a future that you're not willing to weather the storm for, or you're not able to really just endure with some of the things that might be going on. Resilience is just the ability to say that I'm willing to withstand and I'm willing to stay here and act as long as whatever future I want will come.
I think resilience is when you continue to get back up no matter where you are in your path. It's the continuing to start again, to restart again, to take a deep breath. So
resilience to me is when you're able to overcome any struggles you've experienced, all trials and tribulations of any sort.
I think resilience is somebody, or can be defined as, an adjective, somebody who's gone through just a lot. Everything was just dumped on them, the worst has come over them, but they still find a way to get through it. They still find a way to push through it, and at the end of the day, they're still strong and proud of who they are, and they're very willing to keep going instead of just breaking down and giving up.
I think the most resilient person I know is my dad. He just always keeps going no matter what. He's a hard worker. He was very sick, and he continues to provide for his family.
The most resilient person I know would definitely be my mom. She's worked so many years, I think 2 decades or 3, in a job that I know that she hated. But it was probably one of the only ones available to her at the time, and she did it for me and my sister. And she's told us countless times that she did it for us. She would wake up early mornings, come home late at night, and still have to cook and still have to deal with whatever's going on in the house. But I know that she had resilience because she was able to do that every single day. Growing up, I didn't really hear complaints from her, and so I know that she had resilience, and I know she even had hope because she envisioned a better future.
The most resilient person I know is probably my mom. My family is going through a lot right now, and my mom takes a beating on a daily basis. And she complains from time to time, but it's completely understandable. We're all human. We all have to complain and vent and let our feelings out sometimes. But she still does her best to provide for me and do what's best for me so that I can get through school and I can get through college. And I really appreciate that for her, because not everyone has a mom who's willing to do that and, take those chances and those risks for their children. So I'm very grateful that I have a mom who's willing to do that for me.
I'm going to be honest and say myself. I'm 20 years old, but I've overcame quite a lot. I'm still overcoming a lot, being in school, dealing with mental health, and I'm happy to still be here with my head held high.
What I hope for is better communication between people. I think that we need to dispel some of the miscommunications and the models of how we communicate with people. I think a lot of disagreements come about with how people just either miscommunicate with each other or communicate with one another, and that's perceived as communication in one way, or they communicated something that they didn't mean to. And so I think that if we just take a step back and sort of look at how people communicate with each other and how I communicate with you, you communicate with me, I think we can better look at some of the conflicts and maybe avoid them.
I'm hopeful for a better nation. I'm hopeful for Gen Z to come together and help the communities. I think if we start from our communities and each of us take a role in that, I think we can spark the nation and make great change.
I hope that everyone in the end can just like get along. We can just stop looking at the differences, because I feel like deep down we all have a lot of common interests, and like if we just stop looking at the differences and stop looking at what we don't like in people, then we can really come together as a society. But we need to take that step and look at our own problems first instead of looking at other people's problems.
I hope to be in a world where I don't have to be scared anymore, or always overthinking and worried about what's to come and always thinking ahead. I'd rather be in a place of peace and serenity.